We finished the previous episode by displaying a list of artists without any interactivity yet. By the end of this episode, we'll have all our design comps implemented. So let's start right away. First, I want to be able to list the songs belonging to an artist in this right panel, and I also want these artists to be links that load the appropriate songs. In preparation for this, I added two so-called computed properties to the artist model. Now, computed properties are called like this because they depend on the values of other properties. And the way you define such properties in ember.js is that you define a normal function and then you just tack property to it, and the argument to this property function should be the pathes that this property depends on. So let's see the two examples to clarify this. First, I want to use a slug in the URLs, and I want to derive this slug from the name of the artist. So I simply defined that this computed property should depend on the name of the artist, and here I just implemented it to be a dasherized version of the name. And in case of songs that I will use to display the songs belonging to this artist, I defined it to depend again on the name of this artist and on the artist of any of the songs. So that means that if either the name or the artist of any song changes, then the value of this property will be automatically recalculated by ember.js. So this mechanism is very, very powerful. First of all, you don't have to worry about updating the values of your computed properties. And second, it caches the value of computed properties for you, which gives you a performance boost out of the box. So the filter property function that I used here is a very handy one defined in Ember that will just return all the items in this enumerable, where the property passed in as the first argument, in this case artist, equals to the value passed in as the second argument. So in this case it will return all the songs where the artist property equals to this get name, which is the name of the artist. So as we said, we want to display the songs belonging to an artist on the right, while at the same time keeping the artist list on the left. So how should we go about that? There's a famous quote from Yehuda Katz, one of the core team members of ember.js, that says that if your UI is nested, then your routes should be nested too. So if we have a nested UI like this one, then we should set up nested routes. So let's do that. So I should add the nested route here. I first change this route to a resource route to be able to nest a route inside it. And then I define my new route, which I call songs. And also I define the path and I make it a dynamic segment because I started it with a column. Why do I do that? Because I want this URL to be different and I want the artist to appear in the URL in some form, in this case by its slug. So I also have to define the new route to set its model. So by convention, it's going to be called artist songs route. And here I have to find the artist. So for the model hook, I receive a params argument, which is going to contain the arguments in the URL. So in this case, because I defined slug here, I will have a params.slug, which is going to be the dasherized version of the artist, so the slug of the artist. So just have to find the artist with the slug. And I'm going to use find property for that, which is the same as filter property, with the difference that it stops at the first match. So I have to find the artist with the slug passed as a parameter. Okay, so that should be fine. And now we have to set up a new template where we will display the songs for the artist. So because I had previously defined a songs computed property for the artist, and I know that here the model is the artist, I can simply write each songs that's going to enumerate all the songs of the artist, and inside I just want to display the title of each song here. So let's check the comp. Yes. So okay, so that seems fine. Let's see. Okay, so one thing. Oh, got an error. Ah, yes. I didn't modify the template name. I just copied it over. So again, by convention, this is going to be called artists./songs. Okay, now that works. I will want to make these links, but first let's just rewrite the URL manually. So when I load a song, so when I load per jam, I want to see all the per jam songs on the right. I do not yet. Why is that? Well, that's because when you have nested routes, each route gets activated. And so in this case, two routes are going to be activated. First, the artist's route here, and then the songs route inside it. But the artist's template doesn't define where should the nested routes load their content. So where should the nested templates be rendered. And the way to do that is by the outlet helper. So if I put the outlet here, then anything that the nested routes render is going to be filled into there. So let's put that aside for a moment. Outlet is here, and now if we reload the page, we see all the per jam songs on the right. So the next step is to turn these items into links. We will use the link to helper provided by Ember, which allows us to transition to routes using their names. So the first parameter has to be the name of the route we want to transition to. In this case, artists songs, and then if the route has any dynamic segments, then the models for these dynamic segments have to be provided as arguments. In our case, we have a slug and the model is an artist, so we just have to pass this because we are listing artists here. And yes, let's not forget to pass the class name. And inside we have the name to display. So now if we reload this, we can see that in fact they have become links, and our master detail view just works. Also, did you realize that some magic has just happened? Without me saying anything, the active link has got a blue background. The way that happened is that Ember adds an active class to the link, which is currently active, and Bootstrap specifies the active class to have a blue background. So again, this is something that we just received for free. So it turns out that we have a regression to fix. We previously had an explanatory message saying select an artist here, but it is now gone. So let's bring it back. If we take a look at our code, we can see that in the artist template we have the outlet here, but no subtemplate gets rendered into this slot. So what we can do is that when we define a resource route, in this case artists, then ember.js automatically generates an index route inside it, and that route is going to be active when the artist's route is loaded. So what we can do is define a template that gets rendered on that route. So I call it artists index, and I just move the content that we have removed previously here. And when I now reload the artist route, I have the explanatory message back. The other thing to fix is that when an artist doesn't have any songs, then the user doesn't know what's going on. So we need a message here on the right. In fact, that's quite an easy fix because the each helper in handlebars has an else branch that gets rendered when the array doesn't have any items. So we just display the same markup in a different message. So instead of select an artist, we can say no, and I can use name here because the model is the artist. So if I now reload this page, then I have an explanatory message. We have progressed quite a bit in this episode, and so it has become the longest so far. We have taken a simple list of artists to a working master detail view where each artist name is a link that shows their songs in the detail view. We use nested routes to implement this UI component and the auto-generated index route to display a message when no artist is selected. We leverage the else branch of the each helper to show such a message for a particular artist. In the next episode, we are going to add songs through the web application. See you soon.